Hey there, everybody. Well, with us tonight, we are super excited to have writer Luke Larkin, who has a really cool book coming out called The UNHELD. I just finished it today. It was freaking awesome. I absolutely loved it.
Way ahead
So,
of me. I'm trying to find every minute I can to read this thing because it's very addicting.
yeah, I can't tell you how many check boxes this checked off for the stuff I like. I mean, we'll talk about it more during the interview, but it was fantastic. So anyway, welcome to the show, Luke. And before we get into the book itself, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into writing?
Yeah. First, thank you so much for having me. This is so cool. I was just listening to the podcast today. So it's kind of surreal to be on this end of it. But
And
yeah,
you still came on, which was great. So I guess you're doing something right. You must be doing something right somewhere, Tim. I don't know.
but yeah, I've been writing kind of forever, I guess. Since I was a youngin', I suppose. And I went to school for it. I got my BFA here in Montana at the University of Montana. And then I stuck around and got my MFA here. I'm one of those dirty MFA heads. I have a whole lot of opinions about that. But yeah, and so I've always been a huge reader and a lover of horror. And at some point, it kind of just occurred to me that, like, oh man, I could be doing that. I could be killing people too. Let me in. And so yeah, here I am. I'm living and working in Montana and happy to be doing it. And so The Unheld is my debut novel, and I'm thrilled and excited and so stoked for people to read it.
So, as I mentioned before, I finished it today. I read it, kind of binged it over the past week. And I read a lot of books. I read probably 60, 70 books a year, mostly horror, mostly fantasy.
That's more than
And
I read.
yeah, and this one like was something you guys definitely need to be looking out for. Like I really, really enjoyed it. I'm not just saying it because Luke's on the show. I really like this book. It's got like I said, it's got all the check boxes. It's got Weird West, it's got secret societies, it's got weird creatures, freak show type stuff. I'm not going to get into spoilers, obviously, but if you like any or all of those things, you're going to love this book. So I
Yeah,
just
I
want to get that
appreciate
out there.
yeah, I appreciate that sport. Usually I can get through everything, but I've been traveling so much, so I've been like every chance I get though, I'm trying to read a little bit because it's fascinating. It keeps like Tim said, it's like it's very us with the stuff that we like, and so far it's just like I've been like I love every second I've been reading it. And we'll get into it in a sec too, but without spoilers as much as possible because we definitely don't want anyone to get to lose the fun that we had of discovering it. But so one of the we love the final works of obviously of books and movies and such, but we're always fascinated by the process that each creator tends to use. So what can you tell us about your approach to writing? Basically, like the when you get an idea and then transfer it to the page, like what's that process for you?
Oh man, it's always kind of a little different, but at the same time, sort of the same every time. That's I'm I'm kind of a freewheeler. I'll get the kernel of an idea, something that really fascinates me, and usually it's just sometimes it's just a little image. I guess in this case, it was sort of like what would I think I was like getting mail someday, and I was like, what if I opened it and there's just a hand in here? Like, what if someone started mailing me hands? And so that, yeah, I get a weird little idea and it starts kind of tumbling around in my head like a rock tumbler until it sort of sticks and starts taking form, and suddenly it becomes just like what I'm thinking about in my downtime. And like sometimes I don't even want to be thinking about it, and it'll just start unspooling. And like, all right, well, I guess I have to write this down at some point. Otherwise, it'll haunt me forever. So, so that's kind of the general process. I mean, for to start out, I guess I'm a freewheeler. I don't usually go into anything with any sort of outline or plan. Sometimes I'll have like this is sort of where I want it to end kind of deal, but otherwise I'm paving that road as I go, and I'll have some beats that I want to hit, but I like to surprise myself and be surprised, and then I can make everything make sense in the revision.
I like
Just-
that. And
yeah.
and thank you for giving me a brand new nightmare because our mailbox at my house, it's basically it goes right into the house. It's like a mail slot and drops right in. So I hope nobody is going to send me a hand because now that I'm gonna have to check everything before it comes in, they're gonna have this like hand reaching through my mailbox, my mail slot. But yeah, no, that's awesome. I like that idea because I feel like Tim and I have discussed that too. Because Tim, I don't mean to like I'm gonna embarrass him a little, but I know he's he as much as he is a reader, he does love to write, and I think he wants to write a lot. And we've had this discussion before on how when we try and write, it's like we almost try and get everything down the first time because we hate to edit and we hate to go back through it.
Mhm.
But I like the way you described it because it makes it feel a little bit more like, oh, maybe we're not so like, maybe we're not so strange and just kind of writing it all down, whichever works for each individual. So I kind of like that your idea, like, you're like, I'm a freewheeler and that's what you're gonna stick to. And then you go back and find a way to make it make sense when it needs to. You don't feel like it almost seems like you feel like you don't need to necessarily like, I'm gonna edit this later. I'm just gonna do it and I'll fix what I need to fix. And that's awesome. I like to hear that.
Much that. Yeah, so I mean, I guess the first draft is a discovery phase for me. And so, I don't know, I'm just having fun with it. And then, yeah, I can fix everything in post. I always I think it was Ursula K. Le Guin. I don't know if you've read much of her. I assume you must have. But she, in like the intro for the forward of like an Earthsea novel, I think she was talking about her process and she's like, it's all chasing dragons. And I'm like, that's it. That's it right there. I'm just chasing dragons.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we've had
Yeah.
other authors on before, and it's always interesting to hear how each one approaches a novel completely differently. Like completely differently. They all get to the same ending, but
Yeah.
getting there, the whole process is always different, which is always really fascinating. So again, before we get to the book, I promise we will get to the book. I
Yes,
promise.
yeah.
Uh, but writing, there's authors that always say write what you know, and a lot of authors put some kind of their personal life into their work. Is that something you do? Are you purely into like the fantastical, or do you put a little piece of yourself into your writing?
Oh, that's always the question, isn't it?
Basically,
It's
what Tim wants to
the
know if you ever really got a hand in the mailbox.
Did you
That's
ever
what
get a
he's
hand in the mail?
asking.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
exactly what I'm asking.
Yeah, which parts of this are you deepest, darkest secrets? Please tell me right now. I mean, it always starts with what I know, I guess. That's kind of the only place to start, I suppose. But I get, was it like Flannery O'Connor who said that? No, she was like, I write to discover what I know. And I think that's what it is I write to discover what I know. But I think if you're only ever writing what you know, I know it's an adage and it's not a total encapsulation of an entire worldview, but if you're only ever writing what you know, then you're not learning anything. And so I don't know, I try to keep my mind open. And I hope to reach a place where there's some sort of jumping off point where suddenly this becomes more than me and there's a door that opens for curiosity and I get to research and learn and pull other things in. And I think that's how you make a richer world and a richer novel, I think. And so yeah, it always starts with me, of course. I can only start with what I know, but my hope for every project is that it spins out into something more.
Nice. So, okay, so now we're getting into the book itself. Like Tim promised, we're getting
I
in.
promise. Yeah.
So what I mean, you had mentioned earlier this is your first novel. So what was it like to finally break through into the publishing world with when when you're like, okay, my first novel, it's getting
I
published.
mean,
Like
that's got to
what
be
were you?
exciting. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Like what were
gosh,
your
it's
thoughts on
really
that?
surreal. And it's not out yet. It comes out the 25th. And so at the time of recording this, it's not out yet. But I'm still kind of, I feel like the proverbial frog that's being boiled until it doesn't realize it's being boiled. The temperature's just rising. So it was very cool, very surreal to sign a deal. And I was like, oh my God, like somebody has bought my book. Somebody wants this. Somebody likes this. That alone is kind of crazy. And that's just a matter of luck. That's just lightning struck and I was standing in the field, I guess. And so, but along the whole process, it's been sort of I've learned that the publishing world moves really slow. Nothing happens quickly. And so it was like I'd sign the deal and then kind of sitting at my house twiddling my thumbs for weeks. And so I don't know, it's both like a whirlwind and like a slow trickle, and it's fun and exciting and it's surreal. And I have like my first reading on the release date, and I thought I would be super nervous about it. And at this point, I'm kind of just like, this is it now. I talk about
Yes.
my book and I keep writing, and I don't really think about it anymore.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very I saw a picture of the cover, which I thought was super cool too. But let's get into it because I want to talk about this book again, non-spoilery. But Brian and I are both fans of westerns, frontier stories, horror stories. I love horror western stuff because you don't see enough of it. I mean, it's not as huge a subgenre, I guess, as a lot of horror subgenres. So I'm always excited when I get to see western horror. But the Unheld is just a super cool blend of horror, western, and fantasy. So I have to ask you what the inspiration behind it was, other than imagining a hand in your mailbox.
We're never letting you live that one down. You realize that, Luke.
Well,
That one
kind
is
of,
that's
can you talk a little bit about some of the themes? Because I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to spoil anything accidentally. But can you talk about some of the themes behind it, because it's really fascinating.
Yeah, apart from the mailbox thing, I mean, it was funny, I was listening to the tie-dye episode today because they were like the start of the pandemic, and my book too also started in the pandemic. And it is, yeah, I think I would echo that it feels like such a renaissance for art. Terrible time, horrible time, wouldn't want to go back, but yeah, people were making art and I was making art. And so a lot of it, the book is about isolation and connection and the tenuous relationships we have with each other, and during a time where we're all locked down and we can't see each other, that kind of was just like intensified and exacerbated and got me thinking. I don't like to call it a pandemic novel because it's not about the pandemic, and I think maybe the connection to it is kind of tenuous, but that kind of got me spinning out and thinking about just the ways we connect and try to know each other. And isolation in one sense is its own really acute form of horror. It's awful. Kind of like every horror story is about isolation in some way, right? Hmm.
yeah.
Maybe I'm not ready to say that. That's a theory I'm just posited.
No, it
But
does. Whether
like,
it's internal or physical, there is always some sort of isolation because everyone. I think horror has this personal thing, and everyone's afraid of different things. So it's like there's almost that inherent isolation because like the things I like that freak me out in a horror movie are not what Tim does. Tim can't handle a jump scare, so it's all like, there is truth to that. There's always something that isolates you from, but yet it still brings everyone together at the same time, which is unique about horror, I think. But
absolutely. And so often it comes down to a final survivor, at the end of the day, it's just you against the terror, and what do you do about it? But then in like the opposite side of that coin is like the terror of connection, of oh my God, like reaching across the gap, the chasm, and being known and trying to know someone else is, I think, kind of a terrifying thing. Maybe that says a lot about me. But- and so this book is kind of trying to chase and encapsulate sort of both of those sides of that coin. If it's how do you escape? How do you escape that awful, terrible cycle of feeling alone and then actually trying to feel less alone? And trying, I think, is always the answer, but trying is terrifying. And so that's kind of where this monster comes from, is it sort of forces the trying, and that's an awful thing. And it's a beautiful thing.
And it's just funny you say that, so like this started in the pandemic, because I didn't think about that while I was reading it, but now that you've said that, it makes complete and utter sense. Like in the
I'm
context of
no, I'm
everything.
so glad actually that you didn't think about it.
No, I did. Honestly, I
I'm
did
always
not.
so reluctant to tell people that I started writing it during the pandemic, because it's like, yeah, me and everyone else, but I
No,
think
no, I
that's a
didn't.
good
I
thing
didn't
too.
get it
That's a
on the
beautiful
first
thing.
round, but hearing you say that, like after the fact, it just makes total sense. So that's really cool.
And we've said that 100 times. I mean, probably our listeners getting sick of it, but we've said it so many times. Like it's like as horrible as that time was, is like the creativity that came out of it, whether it was because you couldn't be distracted by going out and doing things that you normally do, and you were just able to reflect on your life experience that you had and that you missed, and it whatever it did that inspired everything. It's fascinating, like, and the way people found to do things, like in especially in in movies that they've done, where like that movie, I don't know if you saw that movie Host that was on Shutter, with it was all filmed on Zoom, and they found a way to make these creative projects, like during a time when like everything was like felt like it was doom and gloom, and it like, I mean, it was it was like, for horror, obviously it's like it went kind of hand in hand, because how many times have you seen a horror movie that like you're like, oh my god, that's what it felt like during the pandemic, and now that you think back. But yeah, so yeah, I don't, I mean, I definitely wouldn't feel bad about saying it, because like it's true, and it's inspiring more than it is like anything else, because it's like you here you were, you're like, okay, well, this is horrible, but you know what, I'm gonna make something good out of it, and it's the best we could do, right, when we face something horrible. But well, Tim will tell you, we talked about, I was a panic through panic, so nothing really came out other than more podcasts for me, but but still is good. So anyway, so again, I'm gonna be careful the way I word this, so we hopefully don't spoil anything. So the Unheld hints at a larger scope of events than what's presented in the novel here. And so, are there plans to revisit this setting or these characters in the future? Because I know Tim is now dying for a sequel, so, or
Yes.
spin-off or something.
I would love to. If there's demand for it, I would love to. I think there's still plenty of stories kicking around here on that Montana frontier. Right now, I'm writing another Western horror novel that is unrelated, but maybe in the same world, kind of. I'm finding that the quote unquote world I'm working in is just like 1890s, early 1900s Montana, because that's where I live, not in the early 1900s,
I know,
but
boy, your
Only in
Zoom
your
works really
mind.
well for being like hundreds of years old.
yeah, my high def 1890s camera. But yeah,
That's awesome.
it's just it's where I live and is what I'm fascinated by, and there's so many stories out here, so many stories, and so I don't know, maybe it's a multiverse kind of thing, the Montana cinematic universe.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say it. That's what it sounds like you're making it, and I know Tim and I will be thrilled on that one, if that's the case.
Reading it, you do get a sense that you're only seeing a very narrow window of what is possibly, which I feel like Luke had in mind when he was writing this book. I feel like he was showing us a little window into a much larger world. I'm not, I don't want to speak for him, but
Yeah.
that's the impression I got as a reader. So I was really
no,
excited.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, part of that is like sequel potential.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge, publisher. But on like a formal level, so much of that is like Charlie, the main character, she's a feral and secluded and isolated child and doesn't know much about the world at all. And so it's part of that like hints at a larger world all around her was sort of an effort to emphasize that sort of seclusion and make her feel more alone. Where to the reader too, like the reader kind of knows the context intuitively, hopefully, maybe to varying degrees of early 1900s, 1890s Montana, what was going on there. And so that's where like the supernaturalist society comes in, where actually the reader doesn't know everything about it, and you too are just like Charlie, and there's a whole world happening here that you are also unfamiliar with, and you're secluded, and now you get to discover it with her.
Yes, very,
Nice.
very cool. So Luke, what are some of your let me say that again. Luke, what are some of your favorite fellow authors or books you would recommend to people that, well, I guess I said to those who love the Unheld, but they haven't read it yet, but who will love the
Yes.
Unheld? What are some of your influences or authors that you recommend in this kind of genre?
Yeah, totally. Shortly after writing it, I read some Alex Grecian Red Rabbit, Love Red Rabbit. That's very cool. Also a horror western with supernatural elements. Also kind of a road novel. It's really fascinating. Very propulsive. Um, Stephen Graham Jones is a big one. He's a native horror author, and he's releasing them one after the other, and I can't
Yeah,
get enough.
I'm a big fan. I mean, you had to have read the Buffalo Hunter, right?
Yes,
That's
yes.
that's such a great book. Yeah, that's a good one
Um,
too, Brian. If you love Western horror,
Oh no, I do. I do. I know.
yeah.
So I'm. But this is I'm finishing this first before I take on anything else though. Because there was times when I would try and read multiple books to cut. Because Tim outreads me. I'm more of a watcher, but like I've been getting more into it this year because of having authors on and just Tim's enthusiasm is very infectious. So I started to like it with much to my wife's chagrin because I think she's already, if you could see behind me about one of my collections, Tim got me also collecting board games, and now he's getting me collecting books. I think she's ready to like lose, like she's gonna like make me live in like my own house at some point.
Just gonna put you on a
Store.
storage shed, a
Yeah,
storage
yeah, I
shed,
get you a shed out back.
like we do. Well, I already have
storage
half the
unit.
garage like filled with my other collections of like toys and action figures. And it was funny last night. We had a little off topic, but that I don't know if you start to listen to our podcast, you'll see that's right. Right up
Right
our
up our
alley
alley.
also. But so we had this neighborhood because I guess last night was like National Night Out night where like, at least in California, I don't know. They said national, but around here I guess they take it seriously in California. So like our block does it every year. They just have like almost like a block party. And like the local police and firemen will come by for the kids, and the kids can climb on the old vintage fire truck, and they have a fun thing. And we were talking to one of our neighbors that had recently moved in that we hadn't got to talk to. And she was saying how her husband was like, she said, a collector too. I don't know how it came up, but we were saying a collection. She goes, oh, but he's like, he's car collecting now. He's got like a second car that he doesn't need, and I'm worried it's going to become a thing. At least that takes up less space than your collection. And my wife just like rolled her eyes. She goes, I wish that were the case. But it was actually bigger back when I originally had it,
Oh
but
gosh.
when I was in New York, our apartment, like, but I said, yeah, with what my collections, I think an extra car would be much more compact than my massive
At some
collection.
point, you're gonna have to
Mm.
do like the volumetric calculation. Like,
Seriously,
how many
or
cars is your collection in physical
I
space?
I know, I know, and I'm like, and her husband wasn't there, and I'm like, I was telling my wife, I was like, I think I got to meet her husband. Seems like we get along really well here because with our collections, I said we might not be good for each other's influences, but we'll see. But but
Books are the
anyway,
most
so
dangerous because they're so heavy, and if you ever have to move, you are going to have to get rid of those books. It's just there's no way around it.
oh yeah,
So
no,
you're
we
you're
have a
warned.
massive bookshelf in the other room too. Probably not as much as Tim's books, but we do have a lot of
Well,
books.
I went to mostly ebooks
Oh,
several
okay.
years ago because of that very reason. Having to move books was just impossible. And I hate it because I love physical media, but for books, man, if you're ever planning on moving, you just can't. It's
Yeah. Well, that
impossible.
and the work. Well, my wife's is in education, so she has a lot of books that she like, required for her position. She keeps a lot of stuff on it. So it's like, and then she has some vintage stuff up there too. So the books are not all mine, at least. At least I can like kind of like she can shoulder some of it. But yeah, no, we must have had easily between Blu-rays and books, we probably easily had almost 100 boxes of stuff because
Oh
we
my
try you
Oh
God.
my
pack them
God.
small so you can lift them. But like, oh my God, it was ridiculous. Like, and every time we had someone help us move, they're like, what, why are there so many? Why, when do they stop with these boxes? But anyway, so
That's
we'll
part of the
get
beautiful ecosystem of books, though. Oh, sorry, I have to stay.
no, no,
Is
no.
every time a friend moves away, they always have like a specific like going away giveaway for their books. And so like they have like their little moving sale and then they have like their giveaway book sale. And so these books are just like circling around. And
I
if
wish
and
I
when
could
I
do
move,
that.
I'm gonna have so many that it's
I
just
feel like I take more before I move somehow. I don't know if that's even possible, but it feels like I gained in the move, and I don't know what happened. I don't know because I think I had stuff in storage already, and I kind of forgot, so it probably felt like it. But anyway, we'll get. So here's a fun question for you now. After we barraged you with all those silly things of my weird collections, but so once, and I hope this is the case. Tim and I are already rooting for this, but we hope there's a movie made for the Unheld down the road.
We're like
What
jumping you
would be?
way ahead, Luke.
Yeah, we're I know your book's not even out. We already got your movie. We're the premiere.
We got the movie plan. We got the
Yeah,
the
I've already
Montana
saved a spot on my Blu-ray shelf for the eventual Blu-ray. It's-
No, I love to
we're-
hear it. Keep saying it. Tell everybody.
yeah, no,
Tell
we're gonna
everybody.
manifest this.
We
for
gotta
you,
get this
totally.
movie made.
But so if there were when there is, I'm gonna say when there's
When
the
there's a movie,
yes. What would be your dream cast for some of the main characters?
Oh my gosh, you know, I've thought about this and I have no idea. Like Charlie, well, it's impossible now because I think she's a little too old. But when I was writing it, I pictured Charlie as a lot as oh, what's her name in True Crit? Who plays
Oh yeah, the little girl.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember her name, but I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm drawing. And
She's
normally I
probably-
know this stuff. I'm drawing a blank, but yeah.
She's probably too old for it now, but that's kind of like who I pictured, and which is kind of fitting for this book because Charlie is so much like that character in True Grit, whose name escapes me, even though I've read that book 3 times. But and it's always hard to like cast a child because you have like a dream cast in mind, and then suddenly 2 years later they're not a child anymore. It's
Well, that's what we're gonna make this movie happen fast for you, so you can.
Yeah, it's funny because usually when I read books, I always like for some reason my mind automatically just cast like I plug in celebrities for all the parts typically. In this one, oddly, I did like Charlie. It was just amorphous blob. I didn't had nobody in mind. I think because I just didn't know any child actors that would fit. The dad, weirdly enough, I had like a younger Viggo Mortensen vibe going on for some reason.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
just had like
see that a lot.
yeah, I had this like that's what just came to my mind. And then
The
the other one,
dirtbag Viggo Mortensen.
yeah, exactly. But the other ones I kind of didn't, I just couldn't plug in. And that's not a knock, obviously, against the book or anything. It's just that you know, I kind of had a little bit of trouble there too, like trying to find the perfect casting for some of these. But maybe the Viggo Mortensen, maybe he's too old now. I don't know. But
Maybe
No,
it's the
because
perfect
with
age.
Hollywood makeup, they could make him. They can make it. I mean, he's
We can look the
he's
age of-
described as like a kind of a haggard guy, so it's like
Yeah.
older would probably work better. It would work okay for the father, I think. So
yeah.
I also see sometimes I see Oscar Isaac for Theodore, but I'm not sure about that. It could be.
yeah. Well, Oscar
Ooh.
Isaac, I think, could play anything. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm on like,
Honestly,
I think he could like. There's not one role he can't play. I love
That would be
Oscar
cool.
Isaac.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm
Yeah.
happy just to watch him.
Yeah. Well, did you? I mean, you probably saw this, but like, the first time I saw him in anything, I mean, big Star Wars fan, obviously, so I loved that he was in the Star Wars. But first thing I saw him in was Inside Llewyn Davis, and
Mm.
I loved that movie. And I'm like, wow, this guy's really good. And then he just was in everything, I'm like, wow, this is
Yes.
awesome. So yeah, I could see that too. I like that. I mean, you can't go wrong with casting him in a movie. That's like guaranteed, like
Yeah.
viewership. So. I might have
So-
to make this back because I see a 2-disc special edition now.
Oh,
Tim,
yeah.
coming out. I need to make 2 spaces for this.
The author's commentary. During the
Yeah.
movie, I could see it. Yeah. I want the graphic novel. We'll have
Oh
the-
my god, a graphic novel would be a dream. That would be
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
cool.
I could definitely see this as a graphic novel for sure.
Yeah.
That'd be
Oh
really
yeah,
cool.
that'd be. We need to get some comic artist connections, Tim,
Yeah.
so we can
Exactly. Yeah.
kind of push this over to that.
So yeah, Luke, before we let you go, I definitely want you to tell everybody like where you can find this, where they can follow your future projects, all the socials, everything you want to give out.
Absolutely. Oh man, well, it releases August 25th, 2026. Not sure when this episode releases, but
Well, no, we'll try and get it
Okay.
out pretty soon. So
Yeah,
probably
we'll
next
get it out
week.
quick.
quick.
It'll be out before the book is.
Yeah.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Available everywhere books are sold. Barnes & Noble, Penguin Random House online, Amazon. Go to your local bookstore if
Yes,
you can,
yes.
please.
Yes.
That'd be so
definitely.
cool. And you can find me online in various places. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, Luke Larkin. There's probably an underscore in there somewhere. I don't know. You'll see me. It says writer in my profile. I'm wearing a silly hat. But and
Nice.
I'd love to chop it up and chat and see what people think when it comes out. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I hope you get a book tour. That'd be cool. You got to go around, like
I do. They're sending me
Yep.
to some crazy places, I tell you what. I'm gonna be in Muncie, Indiana in like a month.
Oh
And then I'm
wow.
going to Louisiana for some sort of festival. Can't wait. I'm excited.
Oh nice. Well,
Very
hopefully
cool.
you'll make it to either North Carolina or California. Then we'll come out and support you.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah.
cool local
Absolutely.
bookstores like in the Bay Area. So I like to try and find those, those old. There's one supposedly it's like I saw it in California. I have yet to been to it, but it's like supposedly it's like mostly outside. It's really weird. I gotta
Wow.
like yeah, it's like it's really interesting. I gotta like put
You
it's
can
on
do
my
that in
bucket list
California.
to go. So and then in New York, you can make sure people can go to like the Strand or something like that, one of those
Yeah.
big
Very
classic
cool.
bookstores.
Yeah, I'm gonna be definitely keeping an eye on this as it comes out because I'm hoping it is as successful as I'm think it should be, based
You'll
on
be
how much,
both, brother.
yeah,
Yeah,
based on how much I liked it. So I want this to be on like the year-end best horror
yeah,
novels of 2026. I think it
No,
deserves a
totally.
spot in there. So, yeah,
yeah.
you guys definitely pick this up when it comes out on the 25th and support Luke and definitely Luke. Future projects, you're always welcome to come back on and we'll spread the word. Be happy to.
Absolutely. You'll be seeing more of me, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I can't
and you
Excellent.
know what
wait.
too? I'm gonna give everyone a challenge too. Let's let anyone when you go pick up the book, take a picture of it and tag Luke and Civil Gore on it too. We'll
There
make
you
sure we
go.
can
Yes,
We'll
and that way
please.
get
that
it
Yes,
way
going.
everyone can
please.
see. And like, cause I know I'm gonna make sure I pick up a physical copy also just to have, cause I do like I know we have the advanced copy, but I want to get the physical copy. Make sure you get those returns and we get that just going for you.
Yeah,
So, cause
definitely. We will do
that'll be a
that.
Much
nice
appreciated.
addition on the shelves there. So.